Hello everyone, welcome back to another recall session. So today we're going to discuss with you about recall questions of AIIMS 2019 physiology questions, which is conducted in twice a year in May as well as November. So let us start discussion of the questions. So the first question is, the function of the Golgi tendon organ is to. This function of Golgi tendon organ is a simple, straightforward question and factual question to sense changes in muscle tension. Okay, so the answer here is B, sense changes in muscle tension. The next question is, which is the first order neuron in the optic pathway? In optic pathway, the first order neuron are actually photoreceptors, which includes rods and cones. So the answer here is A, rods and cones. The next question is pacemaker generating rhythm for breathing is. So let us look at the options. Pneumotaxic center? No. This is not a pacemaker generating rhythm. Dorsal group of neurons in the medulla? No. This is the center for respiration, but these are not the pacemaker generating rhythm. Pre-Botzinger complex? Absolutely yes. This is the site where the pacemaker generating rhythm for the respiration is actually present for the breathing. Because these are known as pacemaker cells located in the medulla, and these are the first order neurons to initiate inspiration. The next option is apneustic center. No, this is not the pacemaker generating rhythm center. Okay, so this is also not the answer. So the answer here is pre-Botzinger complex. The next question is, which of the following is not an example of feed forward control mechanism? So first of all, let us know what is the meaning of feed forward control mechanism. Feed forward control mechanism is a mechanism in which the adaptive or anticipatory stimulus arises without any stimulus. Okay, so let us look at the options. Temperature regulation. Yes, it is an example of feed forward control mechanism. Cephalic phase of gastric secretion. Yes, this is also an example. Cerebellar action in motor coordination. This is also right because this is also the action of anticipatory stimulus which arises without any stimulus. Okay, and the last one is exercise resulting in heart rate increase. This one is wrong because thinking about exercise and which result in increase in heart rate is an example of feed forward control mechanism. But exercise resulting in heart rate increase is a type of stimulus that causing the heart rate increase. So that is not a feed forward control mechanism. So the answer here is D. The next question is single breath nitrogen method is used for measuring. So single breath nitrogen method is actually Fowler's method, and it is used for measurement of anatomical dead space. Answer here is A, dead space volume. The next question is iodine 125 labeled albumin is used for the measurement of. Simple, straightforward and factual question. It is used in the measurement of A, plasma volume. The next question is which of the following hormones is exclusively secreted by adrenal gland but not by the ovaries of females? So let us look at the options. Progesterone. Yes, it is secreted by both adrenal gland as well as ovaries of females. Dehydroepiandrosterone. Yes, it is also secreted by both adrenal gland as well as ovaries in females. Estrogen. Yes, it is also secreted by both adrenal glands as well as ovaries of females. But the last option is dehydroepiandrosterone sulfate. This is the hormone which is only secreted by adrenal gland. That is not secreted by ovaries. So the answer here is D, dehydroepiandrosterone sulfate. The next question is which hormone crosses the plasma membrane for its action? So the hormone crosses plasma membrane is hormone which acts inside cells. So let us look at the options. Epinephrine, no. It acts on cell surface receptors. Thyroxine, it acts on the nuclear receptors. So thyroxine crosses the plasma membrane for its action. So this is the answer. Let us look at the other two options also. Glucagon acts on cell surface receptor. And the last one, insulin. Insulin also acts on cell surface receptors. So the answer here is thyroxine because thyroxine acts on nuclear receptor and nuclear receptor for action it has to cross the plasma membrane. So the next question is afferent fibers from baroreceptors for blood pressure control goes to. This one is simple, straightforward and factual question. Afferent fibers from baroreceptor for blood pressure control goes to nucleus tractus solitarius. Okay. So the answer here is C. The next question is if the lung is allowed to undergo elastic recoil without the chest wall, the resultant volume of the lung would be. If lung goes into elastic recoil, but chest wall is not present, it is absent actually. Okay. So that resultant volume of the lung is actually minimum volume. Okay. So the answer here is A, minimum volume. The next question is myosin head detaches from actin by which of the following mechanism? So let us look at the options. Binding of ATP. This is absolutely right answer. Because binding of ATP to the myosin head actually detach myosin from actin. Okay. So this is the answer, binding of ATP. Entry of calcium into sarcoplasmic reticulum? No. Change in troponin C configuration? No. Release of ADP and inorganic phosphate? No. So the answer here is A, binding of ATP. The next question is you are an intern and want to determine the quantity of IV fluids needed for a patient. How much amount of transient loss or insensible loss per day would you account for in your calculation? So this question is asking about insensible water loss. So insensible water loss per day is actually 500 to 600 milliliter. So the answer here is 500 to 600 milliliter you have to account in your calculation for transient loss or insensible loss. Okay. The next question is a soldier posted in Siachen is brought to you in the emergency room. In order to rule out hypothermia, how do you best measure his temperature? The best site to measurement of the temperature is actually rectal temperature. So the answer here is B. The next question is vasopressin escape in SIADH results due to SIADH actually syndrome of inappropriate antidiuretic hormone. Okay. So very high antidiuretic hormone lead to down regulation of aquaporin 2 production, and this is responsible for vasopressin escape. Answer here is A. Down regulation of aquaporin 2 production. The next question is which of the following hormones do not act on the pancreas? So let us look at the options. Secretin, yes, it acts on pancreas and increases the pancreatic juice secretion. Gastrin, no, because it stimulates gastric acid production. And gastric mucosal growth. Cholecystokinin, yes, it acts on pancreas. It increases the duct movements. Gastrin inhibitory peptide, yes, it acts on the pancreas because it stimulates insulin release in the pancreas. Okay, so the answer here is B, gastrin. Gastrin acts on just gastric acid production as well as gastric mucosal growth. Okay, so with this, we complete our recall session. So thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.